Okay, this is super, super amazing and excited. I have one of my personal heroes with me today. Sam Bennett is a dream. Even before I attended, I read her books, I attended conferences where she was a featured guest and speaker. When I just jumped into entrepreneurship, someone was like, follow her. And I've been like a super fan ever since. So this is, when I say dream, I mean my dream. And I think after this, it's going to be your dream too. So let's all just dream together. Meet my dream. This is Sam. Say hi.
Hi, Jade. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being here.
Okay. Yep. These squeals and everything, totally authentic. So I'll start super basic and easy. Tell us about yourself, some personal details. Where are you in the world? What do you like?
Sure. So I live in a little teeny tiny beach town that time forgot called Carpinteria, California. It's just south of Santa Barbara and about 90 minutes north of LA. So it's perfect. There's dolphins, seals, it's amazing. I have a business called The Organized Artist Company. You can find me at therealsambennett.com. And I write books. And as you say, I speak, I teach classes online. And on the side, I occasionally sell keep applications.
Sometimes it happens on accident.
It honestly happens on accident. It is not a big part of my revenue stream. There's been times when I've done it a lot and times when I've done it less. But I've been a part of the Keep family since 2009. I was an Ultimate Marketer finalist in 2010, which was my first year in business. And I started like knowing nothing about anything. So it turned out I was a little bit of a marketing savant.
So like you said 2010, all of a sudden I'm doing math in my head, which is not what my personal forte is. But so before we go backwards a little bit, like how about right now? Like what are you amazing at business wise?
Yeah, so mostly I work with highly creative people. Highly creative people make up about 10 to 15% of the population. A lot of them are entrepreneurs, so you're probably one of them. The thing about highly creative people is, first of all, there's a difference between creative and artistic. Creativity is different than being artistic. So there's lots of highly creative people who are not in the least bit artistic or artsy fabulous or any of that. The hallmarks of the highly creative person are they've got a grillion ideas all the time. They wake up with ideas, they have ideas about your ideas, they have ideas in the middle of working on other ideas, and they're like, ooh, that idea is new, let's do that instead. They are not super motivated by power or prestige, which is cool because it makes them kind of uncorruptible, but also not great because then they don't ever accumulate any power or prestige. You gotta have somebody on the team who's in charge of that. What else? They love nuance and subtlety and gray area. If you ask a highly creative person a question, they're gonna go, well, it depends, right? They don't like orthodoxy. They don't like black and white thinking. If you say that something's gonna be a certain way, they're like, I'm not so sure about that. If you give them something to fill out, they're gonna turn it over and start doodling on the back of it, like,
I feel like you're talking to me, like about me. You're describing me to the audience.
That's right. That's right. And probably themselves to themselves, you know. We love our work. We find our work energizing rather than depleting. So when all our friends are like, why are you spending so much time on that? We're like, no, it's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
So that's who I work with. And as you can imagine, while they're a fascinating bunch of people and always up to cool things and have incredible life stories and so fascinating, they can also be a little wiggly.
That's such a nice, gentle way to put it.
A little slippery, a little wiggly. Yeah. But that's what I do. And so I teach, sometimes I just teach classes about just just connecting with your creativity more and spending 15 minutes a day on the projects that matter most to you. That's sort of what my first book is about. Get it done, From Procrastination to Creative Genius in 15 minutes a day, which totally got endorsed by Seth Godin, which I'm so not over. I know, talk about squeal.
I'm squealing.
I completely lost my shit. I still lose my shit. I can't get over it. I'm not over it.
Wow. So like, how do you harness this in people? Because I agree, like it's very difficult to achieve things when your brain's kind of going party. all the time.
Yeah. Well, this is where it's great to partner with people who are great at execution and great at implementation and who
Mm.
really will, check all the boxes and double check things. If you tell me I've got to double check something, forget it. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. I won't do it. I'll crash the plane before I'll double check something. Like, it's not my thing. So you want to make sure that wherever you are in your life, you are somewhere where your multiplicity of ideas is celebrated, because sometimes that gets construed as being flaky or can't commit. And that's not true. It's not a character defect. We just have a lot of ideas. So a lot of it is just reminding them of their natural skill sets. Like there's one, this is fascinating to me. Highly creative people, this is a biological thing. It's not so much that we're more right-brained or more left-brained, because I think we all knew that wasn't really a thing anyway. Like it's an interesting construct, but that's not really real. But highly creative people are more both-brained. So we make more connections between more ideas more of the time. That's why we're so creative, because we can put together unusual things. We think about things more fully, in more dimensionality. And this gives us the ability to think fast and slow at the same time. So we can be in a total creative flow state and be thinking strategically about what happens next. So it's like the way musicians do when they're jamming, right? And they're totally in the flow of the thing. And they're also like 6, 7, 8, where's the waitress with my drink? I wish I wasn't wearing the sweater. Like my background's in improvisation and theater. That's totally what you do when you're improvising. You're totally in the moment, you're totally in flow, and you're thinking, where's the joke that gets us out of this scene? And I got to remember to put on the fog costume when we're done. Like, I assume it's what surgeons and healers do, like they're totally in the moment and they're keeping an eye on strategically what needs to happen next. And this is it's a rare skill set, but it's one we take for granted because we don't realize that not everybody can do this. And other people often get frustrated with us because they're like, I can't do that. I can't run the back end of the thing and do the interview at the same time. I'm like, you can't? That's weird. I can. So it's a lot about just helping people understand their own natural gifts and helping them lean into it and doing the work that's really theirs to do.
Wow, that's amazing because I've been having a lot of conversations with people lately about learning disabilities. And some of the most creative people I know 3 entrepreneurs that have dyslexia. I know a ton of entrepreneurs who have ADD and ADHD. I personally have 5 diagnosed kinds of ADD and I've never been medicated. And so it kind of forces you to think outside the box and get places in different ways.
Exactly. Find ways to adapt. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that is growing up, it was hard. I struggled in school. And so it's I think where you come in, it's really inspiring to hear that you're not broken.
Well, that's exactly it. Because we are being forced to live in a world that's not exactly designed for us. It's designed for conventional wisdom is good for conventional people doing conventional things. Mm-hmm. And it's good for us when we do conventional things. Go to the dentist every 6 months. Yes. Get the oil changed. Yes. Follow the conventional wisdom on the dentistry and the oil change. But when it comes to creating a business or creating whatever it is you're creating a family, creating a life, creating a community, there's conventional wisdom is bullshit. Yeah. Throw it out. All those shoulds, all those oh, maybe I should get a degree first. No, you don't need a degree. Just do the thing. It's fine. And yeah, we find all these ways to adapt. I have never been diagnosed with this, but I think I have a little bit of what you were saying about math. It just doesn't, it doesn't go in there properly. Language.
Counting on my fingers when you said 2010, I was like,
I would absolutely have to do that. I have 3 calculators here because I can't, if I want to go to sleep, I'll try to do math in my head. That'll put me to sleep. My brain just goes into it. But language, I remember everything about language. When I started acting as a child, I was like, oh, I get this. I got this dialed, right? And the other thing that I think that bears mentioning is I live with depression and anxiety and have my whole life. And again, we're not broken. There's nothing wrong with us. God don't make no junk, you know? And is it a thing? Yeah, it's a thing. Is it sometimes hard? Sure. But everybody's got things and everybody's life is hard in some way or another. So you deal with it. You do the best you can.
I wonder if your teachings could be equally as applicable to non-creative thinkers, just maybe in a different way. And
Well,
just
I
for
mean,
overcoming struggles and adversity in general.
fascinatingly, that's the next book. That's exactly the next book, because it's actually what I believe is that actually everyone is creative. Creativity is our natural state. Everyone is creative, and everyone has at least one and probably several zones of creative genius. And it's just that thing that like you've always been good at, you've always been interested in it. You don't even know why. It's like if you could do it all the time, you would. Sometimes I say like if somebody woke you up at 3 a.m. and said, hey, we're gonna go, you'd be like, yeah, where are my shoes? Yeah, and whatever that is. I mean, for some people it's quilting, and for some people it's, knowing what to say to cheer somebody up. For some people it's like in every office there's a birthday person. Right? In every office, there's the person who keeps track of all the birthdays and they decorate for all the holidays and they make sure there's cupcakes. And I am so not that person. I don't care about birthdays or cupcakes, but I think it's so cool that someone does, right? And that person is always like, no, it's fun for me. No, I want it. No, I want it. We can't not have a party. What? Of course we're going to do that, right? So whatever of course I'm going to do that that's your zone of creative genius. And whether you make it your career or you just keep it as a hobby sounds sort of belittling, but as an important part of your life, I think that's great. Highly creative people have multiple zones of creative genius. Right. We have we're good at a lot of things, which is the other thing that gives us a reputation for being a little bit of a dilettante. And we also don't develop much in the way of patience because we're really good at picking things up really fast. So if we don't pick up something really fast, we're like, well, never mind.
I felt that.
Not gonna do it. So, and then sometimes there's a little anti-authoritarian streak, so they can't make themselves even do the things that they wanted to. So, but yeah, no, there's a lot of the next book. That's exactly what the next book is. It's all the tips and tricks that highly creative people use to navigate the world that I think are applicable to. Can I say muggles? I don't mean it in a mean way.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
I mean it in a nice way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm a Slytherin, by the way.
Hufflepuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I felt that for sure. That's so funny because a couple of my consulting clients are CPAs, and talk about brilliant, and talk about like the translating of like thought process to how I absorb knowledge is like outrageous. And I love the way that they over explain things in such a way that like they'll spend the time to have me do a task, but in the process of explaining it, have done it. And I'm like, you beautiful thing. Like, let's just love each other.
It's so great.
So what I want to talk about is like how you got here, both just in terms of your genius, which is incredible, but also like going from, oh, I can do this for a living. I'm an entrepreneur now. So like, what was your breaking point into entrepreneurship? Was there some like epic like break, or was it an intentional decision, or what was the starting point?
Yeah, it was a little all of the above. I started teaching so I was an actor. Like I said, I was living my life full-time as an actor, which meant a lot of auditions and part-time jobs and gigs and shows and projects and running around and doing a million things all the time. Creatively, very satisfying, financially disastrous. But I was young, so it was fine. And along the way, I got really interested in this question of how do creative people make decisions? Like, how do you know when there's no right way to promote your career? How do you know what to do? Like, should you have a vlog? Should you write a book? Should you stand on the street corner with a sandwich board? Like, what do you do? And how do you know what the right thing to do is? And of course, the answer is there isn't a right answer. There's just your right answer. Mm-hmm. So I started teaching this class called Get It Done, like in a church basement in Van Nuys to 11 people. And maybe I charged them $75, and it was something I did like once or twice a year. And then I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and he's like, wait, you have this class that you love and everybody else loves it and it always sells out, and you're not doing this full time because, and I was like, oh, that's a good question. And then, think about that. And then early 2009, a company I'd been working for did a massive layoff. They laid off like 5/8 of the team, including me. A thing I thought I was going to do fell through. A thing I had been doing ended. So I had this like big open calendar all of a sudden. And I was like, oh, crap. Now I got to get another gig. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I could do this organized artist company thing full time. And then I thought, I guess I should order business cards. Like I knew nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. But I made it my business to learn really fast. And, at first it's like learning Danish, lifetime customer value, customer journey, drip sequence, nurture sequence, conversion rates. I'm like, what are they saying? But luckily I got in with the Infusionsoft Keep crowd right away. And I swear to God, Keep taught me business.
Ugh.
Keep taught me how to do business. Just think of like, oh, you want contact records? Oh, with all their behavior. Yes, let's keep track of all of that. The things they're interested in and what they like. Oh, and when somebody registers for something, there's a thank you page. Right. Let's thank them because we can't make people feel too good about the decision to partner with us. Like, oh, right. Reminder sequences. Oh yeah, let's do that. And let's do that automatically. And so nothing falls through the cracks. I was like, oh, this is great. Like things I would never have thought of. Thank you. And then of course the Keep community, which is, and always has been, amazing. Every question I had.
There aren't so many words. It's
every question I ever had, every pothole I fell into, every mistake I made, everything. The community has been there to be like, nope, wait, do it this way. Nope, don't do it. And also to celebrate, especially in the Chicas group, but the ladies of the Keep community. Because not everybody knows how to celebrate with you when you have your first $10,000 day or your first $100,000 weekend or not everybody knows how to be happy about that for you. And the Keep community really knows how to be proud of you, which is nice. So yeah, so I just started doing it, right away. And like I said, I was an Ultimate Marketer finalist that next year and, just fell in love with email marketing. It's all I've really ever done to grow my business is email.
Incredible. So now that you launched, you found it easy because of tools like Keep and amazing people, and of course your creative talent, and it grew. So let's pretend, and let's not pretend because I want this to happen. So a new entrepreneur is watching the show going like, wow. So like what advice would you give Sam Bennett 21. Okay, well, doing my math now.
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself 11 years ago that you know now?
Fall in love with marketing and sales. Fall in love with marketing and sales. That was really the turning point for me because everyone has dread around marketing. Everyone has that. I would say it's like, first day of 7th grade, standing in the lunchroom with your tray, like, is there a place for me to sit? Like, it's the worst.
It's scary. Sales is scary.
That's what marketing feels like. It feels like the 7th grade lunchroom. It's terrible. But once I learned all that language, right? Once I deciphered what everybody was saying, I all of a sudden was like, this is not that hard. And most of what being in business and being good in business is really about is things, again, that highly creative people do falling out of bed in the morning, because it's about authenticity. It's about showing up as you actually are, like, which you're so great at. It's about being of service to people, just wanting to help and finding ways to help. And it's about telling great stories. And that's really kind of the whole banana. There's stuff in there. There's strategy stuff underneath that, but that's kind of all you need to do. And then when you just got to fall in love with the sales part of it. I know a lot of early entrepreneurs, it's really easy to get hung up in the like, no, I think I want to tweak the logo a little more. No, I think I want to do this a little. I think I'm going to put up a Facebook post. That's what I'll do. It's like, you got to get a little more forward facing. you got to get on the phone. You got to find out what people need, and you have to charge enough. Don't undercharge. You know, sales is a sacred exchange of energy, right?
Mhm.
Marketing is anything you do to help people know you, like you, and trust you. We've heard that a zillion times. Sales is a sacred exchange of energy. So if we think of it like, what are some other sacred exchanges of energy? Like a hug is a sacred exchange of energy. And if I hug you and you don't hug me back, that's not a sacred exchange of energy. That's weird. It's uncomfortable.
I would never not hug you back.
I know. But if you did, it would be weird. It would be uncomfortable. Right. So this is how we make that deal is, you know, you come with your expertise and your abilities and your creating the container for whatever the transformation is that your person needs. And they come with their intentionality and money. And if it's not, you know, if it doesn't feel like a good, like everybody's getting a good part of the bargain, it's not a good exchange. That's not going to work. So
Yeah. And I find too that there's so much great information out there. And even, you know, just having something like Keep where it's like, yeah, here's the email, here's the thank you page. Just you have to do it. But the hardest part is that you have to do it. There's so much great information and mentors and blogs, and you could watch the show and even just like get a lot out of just listening to you talk for half an hour. It's amazing. But like I know so many entrepreneurs who have amazing ideas. They're creative thinkers, and it's the actual pulling of the trigger. It's taking that thank you email, placing it in the campaign, even though they could write 8,000 of those with ease,
right.
but clicking publish and having the courage to actually do it, that's really hard too.
It is. It's an enormous act of courage. And this is why you need to be in community with other people who are up to what you're up to. Do not expect your family and friends to have any understanding of what you do or why. They don't get it, and they're not going to get it. They're not here in the world to be your clients. They're in your world to love you. In the same way, you don't really care what happens at their office. Like, right? Like, we're not, our family and friends, we don't, that's so get that out of your head that your family and friends are interested in any way in your business. Just talk about something else. If they ask you about it, say it's going great, and then ask them about themselves. Like, don't even get into it. But be in community with other people who are up to what you're up to, that you respect and admire and that you feel are cool. Like, find those rooms. And if you're the smartest person in the room you're in, find another room. Yeah. And start charging maybe for that room. And then go to find another room.
Out of that room and move to another one for peers.
Yeah. And really, I don't have a coach right now, and I'm really missing it. I have paid bazillions of dollars for coaching, and I don't know how anybody does it without it. Because you can't see what you can't see, and you don't know what you don't know, and you need someone who will call you out. And I do it with my people where they're like, well, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. And I'm like, okay, so when do you want to do this? How much money do you want to make? How many people are going to be in it? What day do you want to start? When is this going to go? How about we call it this? Good? Good. And they're like, oh, it's like an actual plan. I'm like, yes, it's an actual plan.
Weird. You're like the sweetest hard ass I know. I love it.
That's my whole thing. It's like a little kiss on the cheek, a little whack upside the head. I recently, here's the thing I said the other day. This was sort of my big mic drop moment the other day. Is I was saying, you know, the voice in your head, in my head, and even in when I'm saying it out loud, it sounds like, well, I can't decide whether, I'm not sure if I should, I can't figure out how to, that voice, that getting ready to get ready voice, that voice is code. It is code for one or both of two things. It is code for, I refuse to ask a loving expert, and or I refuse to trust my own judgment.
Or both. Yeah, exactly.
Or both. And boom. Yeah. I said that when I was teaching, and everybody was like, oh my God, mind blown. Oh my God, I'm so busted. I'm like, right. Because it sounds like you're really thinking and figuring it out and being smart and strategic and like, oh, no, I need to figure out. No. You either have enough information or you don't. So, right. And here's what's hilarious. So I said that teaching on a Saturday. Monday morning, I sat down with my book proposal, which is like 9/10 done. But at the point that it's 9/10 done, like the words just start swimming. I'm like, I don't even fucking know what I've written anymore. Like I don't know. And then I hear myself going like, I can't figure out if I should. I don't know if I should. I thought, Samantha, ask a loving expert or trust your own judgment. And I called my friend who's an amazing editor, and I'm like, if I give you money, will you look at my book proposal? She's like, I would love to. I'm like, right. Get out of the spin, get out of the second guessing, get used to making decisions faster.
I have a friend who is considering like writing a book or speaking, and he said his topic is called "It's All the Same," meaning that like, anyone, if they go to church, if they have a coach, if they believe in this God or that God or this industry or this guru, whatever, it's all the same. The point is to get out of your own head and do something. And that's where the momentum stops, is when you don't leave your head, at least. I mean, you can't turn this off, let's be honest, but like you have to find someone, whether it's a book or a hero or what have you, it's all the same. But the point is you have to like let go and reach out. And that's hard.
It is hard. And especially again, for the highly creative person, because we tend to really trust our own inner authority and not so much trust outer authority. One of the other hallmarks of the highly creative person is we tend to be suspicious of anything that's too popular.
Yes.
Right? Somebody says like, oh my God, you have to see this movie, you're going to love it. And you're like, oh, no, I'm not going to go.
I know. I'm scared to do a webinar because everyone has a webinar.
Because everyone's doing a webinar. Like,
yeah, I'm doing vlogs because I don't want a podcast because everyone has a podcast.
See, and on the one hand, it's good to be suspicious of things that are too popular. You don't want to jump on every trend that comes down the pike. I took one look at Clubhouse and went, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I'm going to say no.
You can't make jokes on the side, and that's like,
can't make jokes on the side.
That's my jam.
What's the point? If I can't pass notes in the back row, what is the point? And what happens when you give people a mic? I mean, if they're typing, they say the thing in one sentence. If they're speaking, they say it in 10 sentences, and it's like, kill me now.
I get it.
So anyway, I think on the one hand, it's good to be suspicious. It's good to sort of zig when everybody else zags. On the other hand, we sometimes miss. And, I've got a whole community of artists and, who are just like, oh, I hate social media. And I'm like, you don't know the opportunity that you are missing with this. Like, it's designed for you. And you can make whatever money you want to make doing almost anything you want to do. If you just get over yourself for a second, get some more information about what social media actually is, because the key word there is social. It's where people are hanging out and expressing their interests and desires. Talk to them about it.
There's fads and there's fundamentals. Like, there's a difference.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure. So if there was like one amazing little tip or life hack, like a specific thing, not just, hey, get out of your head, not like conceptually, but like if you have like a little tip for someone, what would it be?
Never use anything that sounds like marketing language.
And you described earlier, like, just be yourself.
Just be yourself, drop the jargon, say the thing, and remember that everything is entertainment. Everything is entertainment. And I don't care if it's a chemistry textbook, it's still entertainment, which doesn't mean it has to be light or funny. It doesn't have to be light or funny, but it has to be emotionally engaging. And we engage with stories, right? So if I was a health coach, you don't want to walk around being like, I support women in their transformation of hormonal balancing and energy and weight gain and snooze. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I want you to say, hey, you know how your favorite pants don't fit anymore? You know how you burst into tears in the frozen food aisle the other day for totally no reason? You know how you haven't had sex since that disastrous trip to Cabo 3 years ago? That's what I do. Right? You say it in the language that people can go, oh my God, she's talking to me. She knows me. You can express their problem better than they can express their problem, they're yours forever.
So speaking of problems, so we're kind of wrapping up here. If someone wanted you to solve their problems, I've personally learned a lot from like your copywriting workshops and your books, but like, can you describe how people can reach you and like the different types of offerings that you have?
Sure. So the main thing is just to hop over to therealsambennett.com. My team keeps threatening to create the fake sam-bennett.com. Go to therealsambennett.com and just do whatever the opt-in is there. I think there's a quiz, there's a getting started kit, whatever it is, because you want to look at like what I do in that initial nurture sequence. I do some things that I think other people don't do with email. That's a lot of fun, and it might inspire you. You know, steal the smart stuff. Don't plagiarize it, but steal the idea. do yeah, do your own thing with it, but absolutely, if it inspires you, do it. And yeah, and then I've got a bunch of classes online. I do a Facebook Live every Thursday on the Secrets of Highly Creative People Facebook page. So you can find that and ask to join that. And that's a great, beautiful community of about almost 3,000 people now. And I do a little, like I said, Facebook Live every Thursday. They call it Church of Sam.
The daughter.
Yeah, that's it. Or buy the books. The books are available in bookstores. You can get them on Audible. They're very good. I do the narration, so they get a lot of gold stars.
You did your own narration?
Yeah.
Now I have to buy Audible.
It's a lot of people get very into the Audible. Like they're like, and it's weird because they feel like, I feel like you're in my head. Like I feel like we've been hanging out for hours and hours because I've been listening to your thing. I'm like, oh, good.
Yeah.
What do I say? Is it interesting?
That's amazing. That is so great. Oh, I'm like the happiest person in the world.
No, I'm happy too. Thank you so much for asking me. And this is the other thing I would just say is just whatever, just do things, especially at the beginning. Just do a lot of things, say yes to a lot of things, right? What do they say? Fail faster. Like just keep trying things because you don't know what's going to work and you can't figure it out inside of your head. You got to just get it out into the air and see what happens. You know?
And if you don't make those mistakes, you're not going to have stories to tell in your marketing later when you finally won.
Exactly. And let's face it, on the internet, no one can hear you scream. So, you know, I've launched courses that no one signed up for. Wes Schaefer and I launched a course together. We did the whole, like, we did the preview call, people were into it, they were on it, and then no one bought. Zero. Not just like one or two.
Smartest people in like the whole community.
No one bought. But it was,
wow.
But it was a really valuable. So as far as, you know, so we're like, okay, well, I guess we're not doing that. Like, you know, when God says, we're like, yeah, okay, never mind.
Kidding. We're supposed to go over here now.
Right. We learned a ton. And, you know, so you just try something else.
Like, yeah, that's where your stories come from. Wow. You should absolutely follow Sam. I'll make sure that when the show comes out, we get all of your social handles and websites so people can check you out. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And I'll see you soon at PartnerCon, InfusionCon, KeepCon.
All the time. See you there. Bye.
Okay.